Uh, but I do think, given what happened last week, it's important to touch base. It's important to acknowledge that what we all endured was traumatic. I think it was Melody. We were literally just messaging maybe an hour ago how exhausted we were. And you have to recognize when something like this happens, not just physically, but emotionally. We don't just heal overnight when people we love or animals we love are hurt. And this is a very good time to, it's been 8 days, to regroup, reassess, and figure out how we move forward together. So thank you guys all for joining. The number one thing I say all the time, our most valuable asset is our people. You guys are what make Always and Forever special. It doesn't matter if you guys are paid, doesn't matter if you're volunteers. I don't care what anyone's title is. I'm still a volunteer. We are Always and Forever because the people on this screen. And I did just have a town hall with our staff a few days ago, and I told them the same thing. This doesn't exist without all of us. Otherwise, it'd just be me and a little red barn full of a bunch of old dogs. And we'd still just be only old dogs and no cats and no mini horses. And I'd probably be crying every day because at one point, when it was just me, I was crying every day because it was too much and it was overwhelming. And when that light bulb went off that we needed each other, like this was such a beautiful mission and how important it was. People came, people were drawn to it. And it's amazing to see how much we've grown in 8 years. But yet also, I think I really have the truly unique perspective to see how we're kind of back in stage one of 2018, just with the little Wichita barn, finding the mistakes, finding not really mistakes, but the challenges that appear on a brand new shelter. And that's what is kind of, I think, happening right now. And when Aspen was on vacation and when the car accident happened, everything sort of, I don't know if it happened inside of you, it kind of felt like we were imploding. Like it was so much. So it just needs to be recognized what we've all been through and that we will get through this. Now, know as well, I know I'm not in Wichita very often. I try to get there once a month if I'm lucky to do that. Let me be very clear. I don't know that I go to Oz once a month. So I am not, and that's terrible to say because Oz is only a half hour away. If I could be with you guys, if I could be with Oz, if I could get to KCMO more, I would. But working full time as an attorney and running the rescue, I'm going to be honest, it's really hard. I run around a lot and I work a lot. I catch up on my work on the weekends and I catch up on my work at night when I'm not doing the rescue work. But I hope you all know how much of not only my heart, but the board's heart and love that you guys have. And distance doesn't matter. Like it's not about where you are. It's about the mission of Always and Forever. And if it wasn't for most of the people on this call, we wouldn't be in Wichita because you guys brought us there. That's the really amazing part is that your love and your passion pulled us to Wichita when everything about Wichita Animal Shelter was constantly pushing us away. Your love and your faith that we could figure out a way to do this together brought us in. So I think that's what's so incredibly special about what we're building together. Now, one thing, I don't know if Aspen's on. Aspen is back, which is very exciting. We are opening up the barn tomorrow. Guys, we didn't close the barn because one person was hurting more than another. We closed the barn because everybody grieves differently and we all have to process things at our own pace differently. So out of respect for however anybody grieved, we tried to give a balance to that. So I do know that many people stepped up. Melody, Jeanette, Melinda, Maya, Robin, Hannah, Greta, you guys, no one is unnoticed with the sacrifices you made to help us get through this incredibly hard time. And even if I didn't name your name, that period of time was so important with what you gave to keep the shelter going. But what we recognize taking a step back is, you guys, we do have a gap. In the very first 3 years of our little red barn being open, nobody was paid at the red barn. And we did exactly what you guys are doing with 19 dogs. No cats though, but no one was paid. And it was actually Jane that sat me down and she said, Jane, Jen, you're gonna lose people, you're gonna run them to the ground or they're gonna collapse because they need an income. Like there needs to be someone responsible there. Otherwise you have this crazy guilt that nobody will be there. Who's taking care of the animals? So it was a shift in the mindset of, you're right. Like we need that full-time commitment. We need the accountability of who's there taking care of them, because otherwise there's this tremendous guilt of, oh my God, if I don't do it, everybody's depending on me. And that's not something that we want to carry on you. But the thing that what we can do is we can take a step back and say, I think there's a gap. And what we're missing is that shelter director level. So we do have a position open to bring on a shelter director so that, let's say one of our managers is out or our part-time staff isn't there, you have the ability to have someone who knows the ins and out so that we can really kind of lift that burden of what do we do, and not have to have everybody drop everything, and which is what everyone did. And it was so incredibly beautiful and wonderful. And I have no doubt that you guys would do that again. I see Ozzy right there. He's making me smile and he's on the freedom drive or back to his foster. But that's how we learn what we need to do to not only protect our animals, but protect our volunteers, protect our staff, and protect everyone's emotional health. Now, one thing that we are doing as well, and Jessica, I think it's from 9 till noon on Friday. Is that right?
Yes, from 9 to noon on Friday, there's going to be a counselor, and her name is Janice at Wichita, and she's going to start out with a group, and then she's available for one-on-one for anybody who'd like to talk to her.
Yeah. And that's it. That can be about grief. That can be about compassion fatigue. Anybody that's in rescue knows it builds. It builds and builds and builds, and then you explode in whatever fashion that you do it to yourself, or it builds in it and it leaks out in areas that you don't sometimes intend to. So they will be at our shelter. They'll be on the Pickle for Paws side so that there will be, you know, privacy in that. And if you want to bring an emotional support dog over, go over, grab Dr. Seuss, whichever one you want. And really I'd encourage you guys just to share. We're not forcing anyone to do this, but we want you to know that we care, and it is incredibly important to take care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. A couple other things just to chat about, and I'm happy to answer any questions, as we go or later on. But the Pickle per Paws space, and what are we doing with that? How does that fit into Wichita? Well, let me be really, really clear. We didn't have the lighthouse vision when I thought of this Pickle for Paws idea. We didn't have KCMO going. We didn't have a vet team. We didn't have the VRC going. So in my mind, I thought, this is genius. I'm going to focus all of my time on the Pickle for Paws. And what's the thought behind that? The thought behind that is we have this little red barn right here when we first started in 2018, and we would have these events where people would come and play board games with our dogs, where they would sit and they would play cards, and there were drinking nights. The drinking nights are not allowed. That was a group that I wasn't involved in. But what it was it was a community coming together and sharing their time with all our dogs here. And we don't have the ability to do that at our little red barn anymore because we don't have a space of dogs that all get along, right? So the thought behind this was to have a space that brought the community in to be a part of something bigger than just what they loved, which would be pickleball or whatever it is. And so for those that don't know, to rent the shelter on the shelter side, it's a $2,500 a month lease. And every year it's tiered up. I think it goes up $100. And then it's $1,020 for the common area expenses. And then there's the electricity on top of that, which is between 400 and 500 on really hot or really cold days. 4,000 all in to rent our shelter and take care of our dogs. We put in about $100,000 to put the drains in there, to renovate it, the kitchen. So much work and love was gone in there. That's just the Always and Forever side. But I had a vision and I had a dream to have people want to come and spend their free time with our animals and do something they love and combine our animals. And so I personally signed the lease on the Pickle for Paws side. I personally, out of my own bank account, pay $4,000 a month to use that space. Now, what's that space for? That space is for always and forever, to bring people in to see and love our animals and to do something that makes their heart happy. And sometimes, when even when we go into our Wichita shelter, the dogs are screaming, right? Because they're in multiple groups and it's stressful. It's the same way at the Red Barn here. What's on the other side? The other side of that wall is peace. The other side of that wall is where you can pull a dog over there and you can go over there and look at the pictures on the wall. Those are our dogs over there. Those are our cats that are alive because of all of us. And so what happened? Well, I had this great dream, a great idea, and no time because I'm working with the med team. I'm doing KCMO. So we did bring Robin on staff to market that, to bring people in, to showcase our animals, to get them in the door, to see how truly special we are. Now, how has her role evolved? Well, we're still figuring that out too, which is really kind of cool. And that's the part of building the shelter together, is identifying the gaps. We had some good ideas about potentially having a volunteer coordinator, an event coordinator, a fundraising coordinator. We really can sort of split things up, but right now we've got to get one foot in front of the other before we all go down 18 different paths. So the really great thing is to say, okay, let's pause. And take a moment and say, do we all really know where we are going? And are we all headed in the right direction? And in some ways, I think we are. In some ways, I think we aren't. And that's also what this town hall is about too, because we now have Bob spearheading, the pursuit of finding us land. Yeah. And he just raised his hand. If you don't know Bob, he's right there. Because what's land going to do? Land's going to give us a campus, right? What's a campus going to do? Number one, we'll be on our own property. We'll have our own trails. We will have our own events on our land where people come to us, because ultimately that's what we want to do. And I have told many people, anytime, especially when something controversial happens, don't read the comments on Facebook. You're always going to get the peanut galleries saying things that aren't true and that aren't kind. And we don't police that. None of that matters. Nothing what other people say matters. What matters is what we know in our hearts and what God knows about us. And we would never, ever, ever put one of our volunteers or one of our staff in jeopardy or in harm's way. So, that's something to be cognizant of as well. And there's always room for improvement on that. And so again, take a step back. All right, well, let's look, how do we train our volunteers? How are we training our staff? And we've gone through, I've created an entire directory of SOP on trainings and all the standards of Always and Forever. But again, I can't just dump that on Aspen. I can't just dump that on you guys. We got to get a director in there that can oversee everything and just carry the consistencies and give everyone a little bit of relief. And I think that's one of the main things I can step back and say, okay, there's a need for that there. But yeah, so what does the future of Always and Forever look like? What does success look like? I can tell you, to me, I can see it. I can see where we will be in 5 years. I can see where we'll be next year. I can see where we'll be in 2 years. I see people coming in and wanting to be a part of us, because no matter whether we know them or not, if they show up, they're met by kindness. They're met by people who are drawn to the same mission, and they're met by animals who you can literally just feel that they are loved. I think you guys all know this. When you walk into a shelter of dogs that are loved and cats that are loved, their energy is contagious. When you walk into a kill shelter and you feel that doom and you feel that fear, that energy is contagious as well. So love is contagious, kindness is contagious, and we're literally doing the Mama Odie Love Like Mama Odie Kindness Challenge. I watch all of, I lied. I actually read the comments on those. So if you get hearted, that's me hearting you on that, because I read all the ones that do that, because those are really good posts. And I'm so proud of all of you for participating. And it's special. They're getting, thousands of people are responding on this, and it's inspiring others to look past our own suffering and make someone else's hearts lighter in a really dark time, which what every single one of you has done. And again, that's what makes Always and Forever so special. So tonight really was about recognition that we've got a lot of areas to improve. Thank you to the emails that were sent in. Everything will be considered. What I will also say is I don't always have answers, and I'm not going to give you an answer right away unless it's thought out, which is so weird, guys, because I was just talking to Julie and I'm like, I don't know anyone that makes decisions faster than me. Because when I know I'm right, I know I'm right. And sometimes I'm wrong, even when I think I'm right. But I'm very good at making decisions very fast. But when it comes to the bigger picture and recognizing that we got to pause and we have to assess and reflect and say, well, how do we take one step forward? I'd really encourage you guys to think about where you want your Wichita shelter to be in 2 years. Do you want it to be a place where people walk in and they stay, or they walk in and they say, no, it's a clique? Because I get that a lot about Always and Forever. People come at us and they're like, oh, this group's a clique, that group's a clique, they're only friends with Jen. I it's actually 90% of the time it's wrong too, but that's probably the number one feedback. Why? Because sometimes you're dealing with certain people's insecurities too, but also if you're not smiling at them when they walk in, they're carrying their own energy too. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about, that I can share the mistakes that I've made over the years. So many people have come up to me and said that all my years growing up, they actually thought I was a snob and didn't like people. And I am such an introvert. I'm like the most backwards person in the world, unless there's a dog. If there is a dog or there is a cat, I want to go talk to the dog and the cat. If there's a human being, I'm weird and awkward and hiding. But that's me. So, but that's how we recognize that if we want people to be a part of our community, maybe we got to step outside ourselves a little bit, or maybe we've got to be like, hey, here's a new volunteer, come on in. Because if we keep putting everything on the same people's shoulders, which is what we've had, we're going to drown. We're going to drown, you guys. And I've done it to people. It's awful. It's horrible. I appreciate you and thank you for all you've done, but we want to help you, because that's a big burden to carry as well. And I know I talked about a lot of things, and um, we're going to roll out a new kind of volunteer training to help you guys as well. It's got I didn't get to look through all of it. It's good. It's good. Everything is meant to support you, support new people that come in, and also to help us build the future that we see. But that's where I would say invite you guys, message me, let's talk about where we need to get to go and how we're going to get through together. I will also say it's very, very easy to identify a problem. I tell this to the team all the time. I think I was just telling, who was I just telling this the other day? I said, don't come to me with a problem. Identify the problem, come to me with 3 solutions. Which one do you recommend then of that? So that then we can figure out the right path together. That's how we learn and grow together, is identifying, where we need support. And that's truly what this meeting tonight was about, the recognition that there's areas to improve. But we're invested in all of you. We care about all of you. And you guys are the reason that this little shelter keeps going. And it's pretty darn special. There's a few people on here. Did I miss anything that I know I was going to talk about that we wanted to point out? Or does anyone have any questions on anything? I truly do hope that you come on Friday. I know it's a work day. They refuse to come on the weekends. I keep pestering Jessica to try to get them to come on the weekends. They won't. Nobody will come at night either. Nobody recognizes that we're a shelter. But you guys are important. Please take care of yourself. Please know that you all matter. And please know how special and so incredibly important you are to Always and Forever, and to me.
Hey, Jen,
Yeah,
can you take a second as far as the pickle for pause and clarify Robin's role a little bit?
sure. Yeah, I thought I did, but in my head I must have, and then I didn't out loud. Um, So really what Robin has brought on is to bring people into Always and Forever to make it a community space. So all of the interior events that happen at Pickle for Paws, that's going to run through Robin. So whether it's memberships, whether it's yoga, whether it's birthday parties, bachelorette parties, whatever it is, the goal is bring the exterior community who doesn't know anything about us onto that side and then bring the animals over there. Another thing that we were talking about is having uniform flyers set up in stacks. That's what we do at the Red Barn. That's what we do at Oz. We just have stacks there so people can grab them, pass them out, take them to events, leave them at gas stations, whatever it is, kind of having everything set up in systems to where we can set everyone up for failure. This is what happens at night. We are not going to set you up for failure, set you up for success on that. But also, I think that one of the things that will benefit us the most is kind of clarifying where what people are owning. Because what you find is when you have a bunch of people that are all in every direction, it gets blurry of who's doing what. And if I sign up for this, is Ashley on? Ashley was going to join because one thing that Ashley is really good at, she does adoption events for us. And here's the thing, before that, Miranda did adoption events. Before that, somebody else did adoption events. But what's interesting is that you got to find your niche of what you like to do, what you're good at, and what you sign up for and you're willing to go to when nobody else is willing to go. Because that's the whole thing. It's kind of owning little pieces of the rescue. And that's what we found to be most successful, because if you kind of go every which way, then you find out everything's scattered and then it's a little bit of chaos all around. And then certain people then end up getting it all dumped on them. And then what happens? You get washed out, you get tired, and then you don't want to help anymore. And that's the last thing that we want to do. So when people own little areas that they can, Ashley owns adoption events. So if she can go to one, or if she finds someone to go and she finds people to support that, then she'll sign up and then she'll bring the dogs. And then she's got a little group of volunteers that do that with her. But in Robin's case, we're not going to have her do the external events unless it's a larger event to help promote in that sense. We're going to have her bring people into Always and Forever and get the word out, because it's such a different, unique model. And if this model is successful where it can actually bring in revenue, let me also be clear, all of that revenue, whatever comes in, it's going to Always and Forever too. Did you wave at me or did you say, oh, do you want to say something?
Yes, I have something boring. Hi, I'm
Oh, go
Jessica.
ahead.
I'm the CFO. We have bought a lockbox to put in
Oh, yeah.
the shelter. So, and I will bring envelopes on Thursday that you can just put everything in there, write on the envelope what the event was, and just drop it in that lockbox. And then my goal is to come down once a month to Wichita, and I will just get everything out of that lockbox. And if you're wondering why do I have to write down what the event is, it just helps us to know and to identify when we're reviewing, what fundraisers did work, or were surprises, or maybe there's some fundraisers that didn't work out. That's just why I ask if you could just write on it what the event was. So
Okay,
thank
that's a
you.
really good point too, because remember how I shared that I don't even know if I shared this. We have made every mistake possible to get us to where we are today, but also we want to share that knowledge too. one thing that we keep finding is we get stuck in the rabbit hole of event, fundraiser, and all of your time is like sucked away on tiny little things that are draining on your time, as well as not necessarily bringing in funds or raising awareness. So just even tracking the fun side of that and the feedback of, hey, you know, we really didn't get a good turnout, nobody volunteered for it, crossing that off the list too. Really, we're still working this on the KCMO side, is to focus on the benefits of what, really focus on which events benefit not only Always and Forever, but the people that are going to them too. So I say all this because you guys are so young. You're in the infancy stage of the shelter. You haven't been open a year. So these problems that we're encountering, let me share. We didn't even have these at the Red Barn because we were just drowning in the very beginning. We weren't even trying to fundraise. I don't even think we had a gala yet. Oh, this is right around the time the first year in 2019 where I met Shelby, and she's like, "Do you want to do a gala?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can you do it?" And then like in 2 months she did it. So, you know, we've got to give ourselves some grace to recognize this is still brand new, and we're creating the processes to rebuild what we know and want it to be. So there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be mistakes, and there's going to be change. I think that's incredibly important. Just because we did it one way does not mean that it will stay that way tomorrow. And if we change it tomorrow and say this person's in this role and the next day they're in that role, that is Always and Forever. Everything is always changing with us. And you can let change be a bad thing, and or you can kind of roll with it and say, hey, you know, let's see how this goes. And if it doesn't work, I promise we'll just change again too. Did I answer your question, Beth? I think I went off on a tangent. And are you stuck or sleeping?
I went off on my head. Yeah, I mean, I think from I just don't know if you, as long as you answered for
You're broken up. We can't understand you. And your screen is frozen on you sleeping.
Okay.
Oh, you're back. No, you're gone. You can drop it in the ish. You want to drop it in the chat?
Yep.
Well, now you're back and very close to the computer.
Oh, for peace.
Nope, you're frozen.
Yeah, because I'm typing.
Welcome back, Beth. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
I mean, I think you identified it for me. I just wanted to make sure it's identified for everybody there more than me.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I can promise you, guys. Things aren't going to change, and we're going to do our very best to help understand the why behind it. That's the most important thing. Why are we doing things this way? Where are we trying to go? And truthfully, just like I said, I was sharing this with Jessica. I see a pickleball court at KCMO. Like, I see a pickleball court with a track around it and with gym equipment. Why? Because I would want to be there. I would want to work out, and then I would want to play something fun, and I would want cats and dogs to be all around me, right? And I do believe that the community would want to do that too. So we have a really cool opportunity to say, hey, let's give this a shot. Let's see if this works. And if it's the worst idea in the world, again, you have a space there to be together, to share the experience of saving lives. And I shared this, I think this is the most important thing I shared with our town hall, with the staff on Tuesday or whenever it was. If you remember nothing about Mama Odie but this, I was at the shelter where Mama Odie came from with Kathy before Mama Odie came to us. I don't remember Mama Odie there, but I know the shelter. And inside the shelter, it was a dark room that they were in at night, and it was concrete floors, and there were no blankets and no beds, and there really weren't lights in there. There was a window, one window, and then outside there were completely caged in runs, and on the top of the run they had a leash to a wheel. That way they could run back and forth, but they could never be loose and out, like they wouldn't escape. That is where we took Mama Odie and Helen from. And we put them at the little Wichita barn. And every day was filled with love. And that's what we gave them. And that's the most beautiful thing in this entire world. Whenever God calls whichever one of us home, she left with so much love. If she left from Leavenworth or whatever it was called, the shelter that she was at, that would have been tragic because she wasn't surrounded by the love that all of you gave to her. And I think that's the most incredible thing about just the ability to love them in the environment that they're in. Never forget that. Never forget how incredibly special what you are doing and what you are a part of truly is. And again, you guys, this doesn't happen without all of us. So if you can come on Friday, we would love to have you. If you can't, if it's uncomfortable, that's okay. Just know that you are important, that you guys matter, and that it's our people that make Always and Forever, not the animals. Does anybody have any, Jessica?
Well, and I was gonna say Alexis offered to bring breakfast for everyone. So even if you don't want to speak with the counselor and you guys just want to have fellowship together, Alexis has set it up for you guys to just visit too. So I just wanted to throw
Well,
that
I
out
mean,
there.
you could play pickleball. You really want to just play pickleball. You really could. I think we're getting the pads up. So Lori, you can crash into the wall and there'll be padding there. It won't hurt you.
Ouch, that hurt.
I know you did. Have you played since we played, Lori?
Oh, heck no, I'm done.
Okay. Okay. Well, we could do walking pickleball.
Okay, I'm good with that one.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna have to drop off. We're just about to Ozzy's foster, so.
Okay. Hey, I don't know if I shared this, if you guys heard this, but Lily is coming back next week. So it's very, very exciting and very special. So thank you guys all for all of the love that you have given. And like I said, nobody's unnoticed. It doesn't exist without all of us. And it's going to get better. We're going to ride this wave. We'll ride it together. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining. We'll catch up soon. Bob, find us some beautiful property. Let's get some land. Bye, guys.
Night.
Hey, Susan? Susan? I can't stop the recording. It says you're still in the meeting. Could you click leave?